I've written this letter 7 times now. And in all the years I've been doing this, I've never needed more than 2 drafts. I think it's just going to take a bit to get it all out. But hang in there. It'll be worth it. See, things are changing. I'm changing. Not how I expected or even how I was ready for, but changing, and for the better. Maybe it's Waiheke, or COVID-19, or the crisp autumn air laced with manuka that cuts through my house at night. Or maybe I should start at the beginning. See, back at the start of 2020, my plan was to travel, make products for Ink and Feet, and build that into my full-time job. And here, halfway through the year, what's actually happened in those months is a lot of home repair and rebuilding half a house, and a long COVID lockdown that looks to put those travel plans on hold for a long time to come. But week after week, I kept sending you these letters. Partly it was habit, and partly it was the connection that I feel with all of you. Partly because it felt like something that I could do, contribute to help with our shared collective trauma. But as the weeks passed by, I knew attention was ticking. See, there's something I've never shared about these letters. There's a tug-of-war about them, deep inside my heart and my brain. On one side, there's this narrative in my head that the only reason that people read my stuff is because it's coming from somewhere cool, halfway across the world, or because I've had a really clever thought that people will find really useful. That narrative connects to stories that I wrestle with in my own identity about having to justify my existence. That if I'm not producing something of value, something useful, then I don't have a right to do what I'm doing. But it's a tug of war. There's another side. And on the other side, there's this much quieter voice that's not too concerned with being useful. It notices, it makes beautiful things, it obsesses about how well a thing is done instead of how useful it is. Now this side gets to contribute to projects, but in the tug-of-war of my life, it has never won. I've always chased something useful or productive or worthwhile to do with the years that I've had. But here, over these weird, long pause days, something kind of unexpected has happened. Maybe you've noticed. As all of this has stretched out, I have rather run out of clever, useful things to write about. The part of me that insists on usefulness is sort of slumped in a corner, exhausted, run ragged by its complete inability to do anything about what plagues the world, and stuck in a space where useful isn't really an option. And that quieter voice, the one that notices tiny details and emotions and traces the grain of a table while seeing tree, has filled the gap. Last week, I sent out a love letter to a crowbar. Now, in years past, when I'd write letters like that one, my head would be filled with second guessing and, oh my God, everyone's going to unsubscribe. And you know what? Nobody has. In fact, the more I've leaned into just sharing art, to moments and words bent over, the more all of you have seemed to love it. So with no one around to stop it, this part of me took bigger risks and bigger experiments. I made a video, and then another one. And I'll be damned, you folks loved those even more. And last Tuesday, I realized something that I wish I would have figured out years ago. That this kind of stuff is what people have been coming here for the whole time. Now, people have literally been telling me this for years. Strangers and readers and lovers and family and friends, everyone. But the voice about being useful in my brain was so insistent and so loud and never shut up long enough for me to actually hear them. It's been a bit of a cascade of realizations since then. Things personal about how I see myself, and business things about Ink and Feet and how it's built. That maybe the way I've been trying to do things for years, making products and software that people find useful while trying to sneak in some art, is backwards. Maybe I should just make the art and find ways to support that. Maybe for once, I should let this side win in the tug of war. So that's what I'm going to do. It feels scary and exciting and simultaneously centered and obvious and whole. I still have a couple more big projects around the house to finish up. It'll take the next week or two. But after those are through, expect to start seeing a lot more art and more ways to support that art popping up. More videos, projects, experiments and interactions, and stuff like Patreon or custom merch. Maybe even some smaller books. People have asked me for a long time to put the letters into something they could just download and read on their Kindle. I'll keep working on the novel, but it's a few years off. If you have ideas of stuff you'd like to see, either projects or ways you'd like to, if you had a coffee mug, I'd get that. Whatever you've got, throw them down in the comments. I'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts and what you all think about this stuff. And of course, expect these letters to keep coming and to continue being less useful and more beautiful. I hope you enjoy them. And thank you so much for your support in the past and now and in the future. The world might not be built out of flowers, but it wouldn't be the world without them. Have a beautiful week.